Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're zeroing in on something that's clearly been getting a lot of clicks, to those recent Champions League games between Borussia Dortmund and FC Barcelona.
Yeah, and what's interesting is we're looking directly at the search terms you, the listeners, have been using. It gives us a real sort of unfiltered look at what people wanted to know.
Exactly. So our mission today really is just to sift through these digital breadcrumbs, you could say, and pull out the key bits of info, nice and quick.
Right. And these searches, they really tell a story. I mean, it's not just random words. You see patterns immediately.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The thing that hits you first is just how many searches are specifically about the matchup itself. We've got Dortmund versus Barcelona, Barcelona versus Dortmund, Borussia Dortmund versus FC Barcelona.
And even the short versions like BVB versus Barcelona.
Right. It's clearly the main event people were focused on. Why do you think there's that much focus just on the pairing?
Well, it strongly suggests these weren't just, run-of-the-mill group games. Maybe there's a bit of history there. Or perhaps the stakes in the UCL were particularly high for these ones.
Or maybe just contrasting styles that make for a good watch.
That too, definitely. And the mix of full names and nicknames, Barca, BVB, that suggests, well, it pulled in everyone from the casual viewer to the more dedicated follower.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, moving beyond just the team names, something else popped up. Specific players linked with Dortmund. We saw Serhou Guirassy and Rami Bensebaini appearing in searches connected to Dortmund. What's that about, do you think?
Yeah, that adds another layer, doesn't it? It's not just about the teams colliding. Mentioning Guirassy and Bensebaini, well, that screams potential transfer talk, right?
So rumors maybe, or just interest in how they might fit.
Could be either. Maybe rumors they were going to Dortmund, or maybe fans just saw them play well elsewhere and started thinking, could they work for us? Especially thinking about big games like the Barcelona ones, it kind of humanizes the search data a bit.
Interesting. Adds a whole different dimension. Okay, shifting gears slightly. There's a practical side to the searches too. Things like where to watch Borussia Dortmund versus FC Barcelona. Pretty basic, but essential.
Absolutely essential. I mean, it's fundamental, isn't it? You want to follow the team. You need to know how to actually see the game. It highlights that very practical need for broadcast info.
And tied into that, seemingly, is the need for live updates.
Exactly. We see searches for UCL scores, Champions League scores, even just UCL matches.
People want that instant information as it happens.
Precisely. In this day and age, you expect to find the score the second you search for it. But it wasn't all super specific either. We also saw broader terms, just Barcelona game or Dortmund.
Right. What do those tell us?
Well, I think that shows a wider ongoing interest. People aren't just tuning in for the big head-to-head. They're, keeping tabs on the teams generally, tracking their form, maybe other results.
It's a sign of a dedicated fan base following the whole journey, not just the spotlight moments.
Yeah, paints a picture of comprehensive tracking. And then finally, there is this real desire for detail. Searches like Borussia Dortmund versus FC Barcelona lineups.
And stats and even timeline.
Exactly. That shows a much deeper level of engagement, I think. Fans aren't just after the final score. They want the nitty-gritty. The tactics implied by the lineups, the key stats that tell the story behind the score, the flow of the game.
It's a more analytical approach.
Suggests a pretty sophisticated audience, yeah. They want to understand how and why things happen.
Okay, so pulling all this together then. That seems pretty clear. These Dortmund-Barcelona games in the Champions League were obviously a huge focus. People searched directly for the matchup, possibly because of rivalry or high stakes. There was also buzz around potential player moves, Guirassy and Bensebaini, specifically for Dortmund. And then the practical stuff, how to watch, getting live scores.
And the deep dives into lineups, stats, timelines.
Right. So for anyone wanting the quick takeaway on what fans were really locked onto around these games, this is pretty much it. It maps out the core interest quite neatly.
Yeah, it really does. And, it kind of makes you wonder, if we took this a step further and looked at, say, social media chatter right after the games, what other stories or key moments would bubble up? What controversies or big talking points did these initial searches sort of lead into?